On this episode of It's Always Beeroclock, we're in St Leonard's, tasting the unique beers of Island Hopper Brewery, a small batch Nano brewery based in the lower North Shore of Sydney. Island Hopper Brewery is the brainchild and the love child of award-winning home brewer and BJCP certified beer judge Aziz Tan.
G'day Aziz.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, mate. Can you tell us how you got into brewing?
So I started home brewing about 14 years ago. Got my first brewing kit. This is in London.
Okay.
So that's where I started my first brewing journey. You would appreciate just how rich the beer drinking sort of scene is like over there. At the time, Brewdog had just started. I was very lucky to sort of be at that moment where all the craft breweries started popping up. And then I joined the London Amateur Brewers, where I was quite involved there. Got to learn lots of different styles of beers. In fact, London Amateur Brewers, like most homebrew clubs, are quite innovative because it's a blank canvas for a lot of home brewers. People get to experiment quite regularly. Definitely a playground for home brewers. So I came to Australia and using that experience, I took over a homebrew club. Awesome. So I went there and asked for about the homebrew club scene, and before you know it, I started running it using some of those insights from London Amateur Brewers, and I still continued to run that homebrew club. During that time, I decided that it was an opportunity for me to start a small brewery as well. I guess it was a way for me to realize some of those ideas and the creativity when it comes to brewing classic beers with a bit of a modern twist. Something that I think resonates with my upbringing, my love for food and travel, and the time spent in Europe, and as well as the really quite rich food background that I grew up in.
Okay. So you said classic beers with a modern twist. That's your philosophy, is it?
That's right, yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love British style beers. That's where how I started brewing over in the UK, obviously traveling through Europe and realizing all of these amazing styles of beers that fit for purpose. So you have a really low carbonated, malty, sort of almost room temperature like cask ale, which you can, you know, at 3.5%, you can just have that for a whole day and watch the Premier League or whatever it is, and still have a family and still be, you know, not completely legless, and to something that's a little bit stronger, like a Belgium style sort of triple or something we drink out of a goblet. They're all really good styles of beers for different occasions, and those classic styles of beers is something that we can apply to old culture as well. We also have different changes in the seasons and different occasions, whether it's a long day at the cricket where it's a more sessionable kind of, you know, Pilsner works quite well, to something that's maybe in the cooler areas like in Tasmania where barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout comes in quite nicely. Yeah. Those classic styles of beers, I think, is so broad that we can definitely adopt them over here. Mm-hmm. The twists, I guess, comes from ingredients, sourcing ingredients that's locally produced, seasonal fruits that could work quite well.
So you were running the home brew club here in Sydney's North Shore, and then you decided to open a brewery. So in a very small commercial sense, like a nano brewery. But where do you brew your beer?
Well, it's basically the basement of my house.
Oh, the basement, okay.
Yeah.
So you can your beer there as well?
Yes, I can.
In the basement of your house?
Absolutely. So everything, even down to the preparation and the ingredients, because I have that ability to do it by hand, it's very carefully done. So there's a Belgian style beer that I hand crush the coriander seeds, only because hand crushing it bruises it. It doesn't burn the coriander seeds, so you get that aroma coming through, which is probably not very practical from a larger commercial size where you're not going to get somebody to hand bruise each coriander seeds like I do, but because I can, why not, right? And sourcing the ingredients from my friend's back garden, again, as local and as homemade as you can, with that sort of attitude of detail and quality and, you know, that and creative expression. So brewing at that scale gives me the opportunity to have varieties as well, and seeing what sort of things.
So what
work
size
well.
batches do you make?
So in the old scale, they call it 1 barrel, 130 litres or so. So enough for 2 kegs and a corny. So that would go through either local bars or even as far as Canberra, for example. So you may see Island Hopper Brewery beers down there as well. So again, you know, for the folks over in Canberra who goes to all my friends, that's a good spot to find my beers. And Dixon Tap House is another one.
Oh yeah.
And lastly, Herbert's over in Everett.
Okay, so tell us about these beers that you've got on here today.
So this one is called the Drifter IPA. This is a 6.3% American style beer. It does have a fair amount of Nectaron hops in there. So you're gonna get some of those really bold bitterness to balance off some of that sweetness that you would expect of a 6.3% beer.
Yeah.
Now, this one is super fresh, so you're gonna get some of that aroma coming through, lots of tropical fruits, etc. There's also a fair bit of Kiwi hops in there as well. So we've got Kiwi hops, we have some American, and we also have some Aussie hops in there as well. So it's kind of like a mash of those three things. Yeah, so 6.3% I thought is a really quite a nice happy medium when it comes to an IPA with that malty sort of backbone, and then just enough of that bitterness to balance things off. The pomelo one is a Norwegian style beer called a Kveik Voss. On its own, these beers has an inherent orange sort of flavor profile to it,
right?
Without adding any citrus, right? Which this is where the pomelo comes in beautifully. These pomelos come from my mate's dad's farm.
It's sort of like a grapefruit.
It is like grapefruit. It's about this big. They're called Citrus Maximus because it's the largest citrus fruit around. So it's about this big, has an amazing grapefruit aroma. The juice is hand pressed. That way, again, back to that detail, attention to detail, it's not blended. It's been squished so that you just get the juice. 5.1%, very sessionable, really popular during the summer, spring season. I mean, also really amazing when it comes to food pairing as well. Some of that acidity really helps to cleanse the palate. Sea Breeze is an interesting one. This is my first beer that I put out into the market. So this is a Pacific Ale. And with this Pacific Ale, there's a slight twist to it, and that's because it has quite a lot of Sabro hops in there. There's pandan leaves. So as you know, Sabro hops has that coconut flavor profile.
Yeah.
Pandan leaves is an amazing ingredient that has married up beautifully with coconut because it has a bit of that vanilla-like sort of quality, and that matches up really beautifully with the Sabro hops. And then lastly, this is a pale Vienna lager. So it goes through a typical lagering process, about 6.5 weeks sitting in the bright tank, allows it to clear up nice and crisp. Uses 99% Weimann Vienna malt. So this is the only imported grain that I like to use.
Okay, Aziz, thanks for that. And we look forward to tasting your beers.
All right, boys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lovely. Quite sweet. Beautiful.
You'll get this from the Weimann Vienna malt because obviously they kiln it a little bit higher as well, so there's a bit of a residual sweetness in there.
But it does. If I close my eyes, you give this to me, I'll say this is a European beer. Yeah.
Well, it's because European ingredients. The yeast strain is also a European yeast strain, so it goes through your typical sort of lagering period, which is about, give or take 6 weeks.
6 weeks,
yeah.
So we're at a cafe in St Leonard's, which is your de facto tap room.
Yeah.
Where else in Sydney would people be able to get your beer?
Zucchero Cafe over in Artarmon, Brewery over in Crow's Nest, St Leonard's Way.
And if people want to buy your cans, do they order them online or where do they find them?
Yeah, if they go to islandhopperbrewery.com.au, you can order from there. And Midway Cellars over in Denniston and Murray's Penrith Way, that's another really great spot. You can find my beers there too as well.
The name Island Hopper,
Yeah.
where does that come from?
Well, firstly, because it sounds like it's a fun there's a fun energy to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of reminiscent of being on holidays and good weather and all that sort of stuff. But it really goes back to my roots. So my grandparents are from Hainan Island, which is one of the larger islands just off of China.
Yeah.
My parents I was born in Singapore, right? And then I grew up in Australia. Started brewing when I was in the UK, so...
That's where the... That's where the hopping comes
that's
from.
Right, yeah.
Okay, got it. We're here with Alex. G'day, Alex.
G'day.
Island Hopper beers. You're having one now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first experience of Island Hopper for you?
No, I've known Aziz for a while. I think the first one was about a year ago, when he was down in Artarmon.
Right.
And I remember he had a few different beers then. I think one of them would have been, I think a few of them he has on tap now, like the Pacific Ale and the Lager. But every beer of his is amazing. It's always a hit.
Okay, and what are you trying today?
I'm having the Lager now, but I'm about to move on to the IPA. I'm not an IPA drinker, but I will definitely try one if Aziz pours it. But this lager is very easy drinking. It's got like a honey sort of taste to it.
All right, this is we've just tried this one as well. It's
got the same.
It's a little bit sweet, but it's really nice.
Yeah. I'm not used to like a sweet sort of lager. Used to more of just sort of that crisp classic lager style.
Yeah.
But this one's good. It's sort of more of an alternate lager, but it's beautiful. I mean, every one of Aziz's beers is 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay, Alex,
Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to It's Always Beeroclock.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
We had a great time here at the tap room of Island Hopper Brewery in St Leonard's. Mark, what did you think of the experience?
Simon, I had a lovely time here. The Island Hopper Brewery is tiny. It's in Aziz's basement, so he doesn't have a in-house tap room. So he uses a couple of sort of cafes and bars in the local area. The beers were very nice, tasty, distinct. I liked the Pomelo Voss Ale, which was a Norwegian farmhouse ale with a very pronounced citrus characteristic. And also the Seabreeze Pacific Ale was very good.
It was too. And David, what did you think?
I agree with Mark. The flavours of the beers were very, very distinctive. My favourite was I'm going to try and get it right, the Coast Vienna Pale Lager. I think that was the name of it. I also liked the Pomelo one, but yeah, I thought that the Coast Vienna Pale Lager was beautiful. Simon, your thoughts?
Yes, no, I agree. I really liked the Coast Vienna Ale, whatever it was, and the Pomelo as well. But they were all unique. They were all really quite different from anything else. But also, they're handmade, and you can taste that they're made with love and pomelos. So there you go. Well, that's it, folks, for this episode of It's Always Beeroclock. So remember what we say. I just said it.
It's
always Beeroclock.
And dogfight.
And the dog.
and particularly,
Dog fight.
I did did like that, the Vienna, whatever it was, ale.
Oh, fuck.
Which happens to be a lager. What's that even better?
Oh my god. I was like, what was the name of the beer I liked? I hope Dave liked it. Oh, he did.
And I did.
And then I couldn't remember it by the time I got to say it.